In this week's episode of the Evolve to Perform podcast, we discuss footwear.
It's one of the most popular questions that we get.
We discuss what you should look for in a shoe.
And orthotics.
What's the skinny on chunky soles?
And why shoes might not be the full sole-lotion.
And some tips on changes that you can make immediately.
So kick those feet up and let's get into the episode.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Evolve to Perform podcast. I am Kingsley Yu.
I am Jordan.
And this week's episode, we're going to be talking about footwear.
Footwear?
That's right, footwear.
Like heels?
How about like no heels?
Oh, okay. So you want to talk about the proper footwear that we should be wearing at the gym specifically?
Well, I mean, it's such a common question that we get here.
Yeah.
So we want to try to, just kind of give our listener like a good reference on what to look for in their shoe.
Okay, so what should we look for in a shoe? Let's start off with, I feel like some people think and assume that the thicker the sole, the closer to God. No, just kidding. The thicker the sole, the better for you and the better for your joints because it's more padding. Is that true?
Well, I mean, I don't think it's true.
Hmm.
I mean, it does make sense, right? Like you have more padding, there's more protection, it just feels good. But I think we have to revisit and rethink that thought process when we have to pick the shoes that we're going to wear most of the times. I mean, and I'm saying, yeah, most of the time, but I'm just saying, yes, the shoes that we have to wear.
Okay. So should we be wearing different shoes for exercising versus walking around in everyday life, or should that be the same shoe?
I think it should be the same characteristics of the shoe.
Okay. So what kind of characteristics would those be?
Mostly, like if it's like an everyday shoe that you're gonna walk around in, of course it has to fit your environment. So you can't go to work, maybe if you have like a job that requires more of like dressy attire, right? You can't go walking around in a pair of sneakers.
Right.
You never know. So when I'm talking about this, the characteristics that we want to make sure are consistent across the board are going to be shoes that are flexible.
Okay.
Okay, so very easily, like if you had them in your hand, you can just bend it, twist it, contort it.
Got it.
All right, easy to pack. Like something if you were going on vacation or if you went away for a weekend trip, like it's very easy to put it in your bag. Like it doesn't take up a ton of space.
Okay.
Another thing is, can we get the shoe as flat as possible? Okay, and when I say flat, I think most listeners are probably going to say or assume like, does that mean that there's no arch? And that is part of it. But when I say flat, we want something that's level from the front to the back of the shoe. So that, it's just like if we had a level, that level would sit, right in the center as opposed to being tipped to one side more than the other.
Got it.
So that's another one of the characteristics. And then too, depending on your activity, is the shoe also thin? Is it like a low profile? So those are really like the main three characteristics that I think are really important in your footwear choice.
And this is across the board, just everyday life, lifting, playing sports. Like, are there any exceptions where you would say, like, well, maybe if you were playing baseball or another sport, like, you should maybe look for something a little bit more supportive, or you should maybe look for something different?
I think it transfers across the board.
Yeah.
I think it does. I mean, there's going to be some exceptions, like if you are recovering from an injury, there's a short period of time temporarily where you can have something that's got more support. Like the sneaker industry can be really confusing.
Okay.
There's like so many different pieces of technology. So there's all this like lingo with their shoe. We've got like this like max support shoe. We're working on trying to control things like pronation primarily. Because pronation's gotten a bad rap. So like for those of you who aren't sure what pronation is, it's just basically it's just a caving inward of the foot, where like the arch just kind of flattens out.
Yeah.
And everything starts to roll towards the big toe side of the foot.
Yeah.
And it's gotten a bad rap. And so there are shoes which are specifically made to stop that or slow that down. And I don't think that that's necessarily something that we have to depend on or think that our shoes are going to solve our problem.
Got it. So when you say foot pronation has gotten a bad rap, do you mean that it's not actually a bad thing, or using shoes to fix it is the problem? Does that question make sense?
It does make sense, and that's
Okay.
a good question. So I think like that we need pronation.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so it's something that we don't want to fully eliminate. We want to have that because that's allow us to free up more motion through our ankle. The problem is like, well, not the problem. It's just that the thing is that we have the ability to control that pronation or to get us out of it. But if we put ourselves in a shoe that's supposed to prevent or support that pronation, then we don't know how to do that. Our foot gets lazy. The muscles around our foot get lazy, just like anything else, right? It's like, yeah, I mean, if like we try to set rules and then we don't follow those rules, then we're going to say, okay, well, I don't have to follow those rules. I can get away with something.
Right.
And that's what happens with how our foot and how our ankle is going to work, the muscles, the joints itself.
Okay, got it. If someone has a lower arch or a higher arch, does that change your recommendation at all?
I mean, only if there is like certain things that we determine within that person's foot that could like lead to just causing more stress. So if it is like we determine that maybe there's a lot more like ligamentous laxity, like so those supporting structures just like aren't as tense and tense in a good way, to keep like a good positioning of the foot arch. Okay, then maybe you do need some type of support so that you don't strain the muscles and you flare something up.
Got it.
But like also too, like in those situations, like if you don't have pain and so your ligaments are pretty solid and things like that, it's just about like how can we get you to just like wean yourself into something like that to tolerate it. So there's always going to be that transition period, because it's like the shoes that we recommend are something like we can't just go right into and like even like run right like a mile right away. These are just like things that you want to build yourself into. So it's like, why don't, instead of like getting these new shoes that we recommend or with all these characteristics and start running or training, how about just get used to walking in them and for everyday life for like 6 to 8 weeks. Let's see that. Okay, if you want to maybe run a lap around the track, then let's do that. But we're not just saying, hey, just go right into this and just go do everything you've been doing. There is a work-in period here. So if it is low arch, high arch, it's the same thing. It's just like get yourself acclimated to it, just with every day moving around and walking, and then just then we'll take it from there.
Got it. Okay, so that's actually interesting, because I was going to ask you about that too, because I think that's also maybe like a little bit of a misconception, is like, oh my gosh, like I'm wearing these shoes that are bad for me. I have to go to these like flat shoes when I've been used to wearing a shoe with such a high arch or so much padding or so much support.
Yeah.
And then you actually end up hurting your foot when you make that transition so quickly, right?
Well, I guess, yeah. I mean, I guess you would say it hurts, yeah. Are you hurting it? Are you injuring it? Maybe not, but you're putting a lot more strain on it. So.
So you're making it worse rather than making it better.
Well, you think you're making it worse, but yeah, it's just maybe because your dosage is too high.
Yeah.
So just like, increase that dose slowly and slowly,
Yeah.
slower and slower, and then just let your body just get acclimated to it.
Yeah. That's actually like what I just said, where it's like, oh my gosh, I found out I'm doing something bad for me. That's like literally my exact thought process. I always go 0 to 100.
Right.
And then I'm like, oh wait, gotta wean yourself into it.
Absolutely, and and of course, I mean, like, you are so conscious about wanting to do the right thing. I mean, a lot of us are, especially if you're listening to like a podcast like this. But I have to remind you, like, okay, like this is a suggestion, but like you just can't go floor at 100 miles an hour and do everything or be expected to do that. This is a change that has to be made over time, and you have to just get small exposures and build up to that.
Yes. So my fellow 0 to 100 people, I see you, I feel you, I am you, but this one we're gonna take it slow. So, are you saying that when we go to the gym, we should just take our shoes off, stinky feet everywhere, just be in socks? Or do you think that the shoe that is super flat is the best thing? Like if you had to pick barefoot all day every day or flat shoe, which one would you pick? Or are they kind of the same?
I mean, I think they're very similar, you know. So it's
Okay.
just wherever you can go and like either feel like the weirdo or the person that's going to get kicked out because you're not wearing shoes.
Yeah.
You know. So it's like maybe like there's going to be communities of places where you can go and go barefoot because I'm a huge proponent of walking around barefoot, but you know. Like anything else, like the space that you're in might not be clean enough,
Yeah.
or you know, there might be just other things that you don't want to step in,
Yeah.
that could injure your foot, you know, from that standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, so your question about like, you know, I think your question about more about the gym, you know, yeah, I mean, let's find a shoe that can mimic that.
Yeah.
But but every once in a while too, I really do feel like you need to be able to make sure that your feet are not highly sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
You can feel the ground. There is like a benefit to just grounding.
Yeah.
Okay, so like grounding with nature or just grounding with your environment, because
Mm-hmm.
our feet have really unique characteristics. They're supposed to be able to adapt to the shape and the contours of what you're stepping on, but at the same time, they're also supposed to become very rigid to create power for us to be able to run and sprint and all those other things. So it's like a chameleon.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
And so we have to be able to do those things. So a lot of the times, again, if we're getting into a traditional shoe, you know, that creates this false sense of comfort for the arch.
Mm-hmm.
Then on top of that, you know, we start to develop like some tightness along, you know, our calf and our Achilles, because most shoes are designed where the heel is thicker than the front of the shoe.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like almost like if you can you picture yourself if you stood on a hill, and you're facing this hill, but you're facing it downhill, okay?
Yeah.
Can you imagine what that would do to the muscles of your ankle and your calf if you did that all day? Like if you were to picture that, what do you think would happen?
I feel like it would get tight.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So everything around the heel, yeah, dodge a bullet. So everything around the heel.
Didn't put that wrong answer up again.
Nope, ding ding, correct.
Woo!
Right? Yeah, so the muscles around the heel, right, the Achilles, the calf, all those muscles start to get short. And so then that could also like create a lot of like just other postural disruptions up the chain.
Yeah.
Because like, again, if you guys here picturing this, like if you were to stand on a hill, right, you're facing downhill, even the slightest amount. What do you have to do to kind of find out to shift your weight and posture yourself so that your weight is straight up and down? So if you feel like everything's pulling you downhill, your hips start to sway forward. Your hips sway forward, but to balance yourself out, you might shift your shoulders back into some degree. So some might say like, you know, it's like a banana backing type of posture. So then that leads to other compensations. Your hips will start to go into an anterior pelvic tilt.
Yeah.
You shut off your abs.
Yeah.
You can't squeeze your glutes.
Yeah.
And it just sets this whole cascade of compensations there.
That's not the knee behind butt that you want.
Exactly. It's not the knee behind butt, right? You're creating excessive motion through the low back, and you're not getting that activity there.
Yeah.
So you do shut off a lot of like stability muscles that you need to work. Your pelvic floor then also becomes affected. So we've talked about pelvic floor stuff. So all these connections are really, really important here.
Yeah.
To highlight.
Yeah. And I think I'm happy to report that I've seen both at my gym and also at like online videos. I think people are getting more comfortable of like taking their shoes off at gyms and just kind of doing things in their socks, especially squatting. If there was one exercise that you're at the gym doing and you're like, take your shoes off for this, what would it be?
Yeah, I do agree with you. I think it would be a squat.
A squat?
Yeah,
Okay.
it would be a squat, and but I think the reason why a lot of people tend to prefer the shoes is, again, once that heel comes up, that's a lower requirement of your ankle being able to have to flex upward.
Yeah.
And that's a limiting factor for some of those who can't squat low. So for us to want to squat low, or what we call ass to grass, or get our butt down and our hips lower than our knee crease.
That word.
No, ass to grass.
Beep.
That's a hashtag.
All right, I'll hashtag it.
Yeah, so in order for us to be able to get our, in order for us to be able to get our hips below our knee crease or below our knees, okay, we have to, if we don't have enough ankle mobility, that's why we get into a shoe. That's why Olympic lifting shoes too have that nice thick wedge on the backside, right? Because that allows the lifter, it allows us to get lower into the squat, because we don't have to worry about having enough ankle range of motion.
Got it. Okay, so you would recommend though, like if for our listeners, if they want to try something barefoot, but they're a little bit self-conscious and they just want to try it for one thing, you would recommend a squat?
I would,
Okay.
absolutely.
Cool. Yeah, and I feel like what you said was important too about just like letting your feet, I think you said spread out. Did you say something like that?
Well, no, I didn't, but thanks for reminding me about that.
Sure. Maybe I thought about it, so I thought you said it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like one thing about the shoes, by the way, the shoes that we're talking about, you may have never seen before. They're not like the popular brands. They are a little jarring at first when you see them. They're very wide. So if you're like fashionista, like you're going to be like, oh, but they're good for you. That's it. That's my TED Talk on the shoes that are good for you. Maybe they don't look like what you're used to, but yeah, like you definitely are able to like spread your toes out.
Absolutely. Like, I mean, look, we want a shoe that's going to be the least invasive, that allows our foot to act like a foot.
Yeah.
Okay, so the shape of it has to, the shape, the width, all of those things, it has to accommodate. Like, our feet are here for so many things. One of them is also balance. So if we can't like spread our toes out, then we have a narrower base of support.
Yeah.
And then from there, then it's also factors into how much control we have. So the wider our feet are, the wider the base, the more that we can handle. Very, very important. Okay.
Got it.
So thanks for reminding me about that.
You got it. And what would you say to someone that maybe has an injury, or maybe they've gotten older in life and their doctor told them to wear orthotics?
Oh, I knew you were going to say that.
I think I said it quietly. Orthotics.
Yeah, that's like a 4-letter word around here.
A 4-letter word? Orthotics? What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, like, so orthotics are like, of course, like very easy. Again, it's like a,
What's the 4-letter word?
Oh, it's just like the equivalent of a 4-letter word. Anything, just like a 4-letter word, a curse word.
Okay. I was like, what's the word?
Yeah, orthotics. I mean, orthotics, I think, we just have to really take our time making the decision before we get into orthotics. I'm not going to say anything. I'm trying to avoid saying anything like really negative about orthotics, because there definitely are people who need it.
Yeah.
But there's less people than we think.
Is there a particular injury or something that someone is recovering from, or a particular scenario where you're like, oh, you need orthotics? Or is it more like a case-by-case basis depending on the person?
I mean, I think it would be more so, yeah, I think it would be case by case, but like, I guess some of the things that just in general that someone would be more appropriate for would be like someone who has really big limitation on how well their big toe moves. So if like the big toe can't really flex upward, that might be helpful for them.
Yeah.
If they're also dealing with like any type of like neuropathy, like a diabetic neuropathy or something like that, like a nerve condition.
Yeah.
It probably helps them, because like the last thing that you would want to create is just like extra friction.
Yeah.
Based off of either some compensation, weakness, because like in that situation, like protective sensation is also inhibited. So like we want to really make sure that like we don't create like any type of irritation to the skin where we can get an open wound that could lead to an infection. Things like that. So so that's really important to factor in. So orthotics, like I said, they're not like definitively no good. It's just that I really think that it's a lot less people who require it than most of us think.
Got it. So you feel like they're given out a little bit too willy-nilly,
It's like candy.
like candy. Everyone, you get an orthotic. You get an
That's
orthotic.
right. It's like Oprah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. How do you feel about maybe like a high top shoe where the ankle is covered with shoe? Do you feel like that's okay, or are you not for that because of ankle mobility?
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, good question. Um, I think like with with a lot of situations, like if it's like if you had, if you're using something like as an exterior skeleton, to provide support or whatever, then our body again is like it's going to be like that kind of like I don't feel like I'm being asked to do this. So if I have a high top shoe that's there to support me, it's like wearing an ankle brace, way beyond like an ankle sprain. Like so, and that happens too because it's like becomes our security blanket. But then but then over time, it's like then we get to go through like this like disuse atrophy. The muscles are like we don't need this because we have something external. So high tops aren't necessarily bad. I mean, they're cool. I love my Air Jordans. I don't wear them all the time, but because that's my brain. Like I just want to make sure that I don't restrict my ankle. And so it's just that it's just like prolonged use or dependency on that, I think is really like the thing. So it's the same thing. It's like, do we want to wear a shoe that's got a cushy arch all the time? No. The same thing, like do we need to wear an ankle brace or a high top shoe all the time? No, we have to mix it up.
Dang. Okay. I have a pair of Air Force One high tops. I love dancing in them. It's so fun.
Okay.
I just stomp around the dance studio.
Yeah.
I just feel like aggressive.
Look, I mean, like, no, I mean, Air Force Ones, they're a classic shoe, but
Yeah.
I mean, but you're not dancing in them all the time. Really? All kidding aside, you do dance without shoes.
I do.
Right.
Yeah.
And why is that?
Well, a couple different reasons. It's important to feel the floor in dance.
Yeah.
It's important to build up calluses on the bottom of the feet so that you can turn barefoot.
And so yeah, exactly. And you made such good points there. Like being in that cushy shoe, all right, just like we have like the highest concentration of nerve endings in our feet.
Yeah.
All right. So and we need that for information, for balance, for safety, for all of these things. And so like if we wear a cushy shoe, even and especially like if we're in the house, if we're at home, like go barefoot. If you're wearing slippers, if you're wearing shoes, those nerve endings then are just like those go dormant.
Yeah.
So then it's like all of a sudden like you have to like just because like whatever you left your shoes or slippers in another room and you have to walk barefoot on the floor, it just feels like you're walking on glass.
Yeah.
Right? And like that's definitely not how our feet are designed.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So I mean, so like right there again, like you said all those good things about dancing and why you need to do that. And this is probably something we'll talk about more in a separate episode away from footwear. But that's just another reason why we look for the thin shoe, the flexible shoe, all of those things, and let's stay away from like the chunky soles.
Yeah. Was there anything else you wanted to add about shoes?
Yeah, I mean, bottom line is, we don't want you to think that just because now that you've found the right pair of shoes with these characteristics is like that solves your problem. Okay, it's very easy to say, here's $200, I'm gonna go ahead and I paid this price and now my shoe's gonna solve my problem.
Yeah.
Deep down, it's gonna be, what is my foot doing? What is my foot not doing? Okay, what have I not asked my foot to do and now I'm asking to do it?
Yeah.
So the shoes are just, they're cool because they're an expression of your fashion taste and everything else, and then you can also walk into restaurants without getting kicked out. But you also have to make sure that you want to address like your foot issues.
Yeah.
Because there are foot issues there.
Yeah.
And so we're going to talk, specifically today we're talking about shoes, but we are going to also add in another episode where we're going to talk about foot function and all of these things and why it's really important. We did touch upon a little bit of this right now, but we want to expand on that a little bit more too.
We have a lot to do.
Yeah, we do. So we just wanted you guys to know that during this episode, we tried really, really hard to make sure that we don't name drop any brands, all right? So, but if you are curious, after listening to this episode, some of the brands that we do recommend, that we do prefer, just be sure to check out our show notes. We'll have all that information there. And other than that, Jordan, anything else you need to add?
Evolve to perform, evolve to be you.
All right, thanks. And we'll see you guys soon.
Bye.